It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today. Al Cornell is back with us. Typically, we have Al come in and we do a show with him in the spring and usually one in the fall. We talk about the do's and don'ts of hiking and just safety for the summertime, and then safety for the winter as well. We decided this time that we'd separate the show because Al talked about the do's and don'ts in the last episode. We'll kind of recap that. And then this time, he's got his pack with him today and the stuff that you carry with you. By the way, hello, Al. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
I appreciate it very much. He's got all the stuff lined out for him, and you can see it looks like a lot of stuff, but it's a lot of small stuff, and it doesn't weigh a lot. So we'll talk about that as well. Let's kind of recap what we talked about on the last show. We talked about acclimating yourself to where you're going to be hiking. Get used to that. Hydrate, lots of water, and you talked about even hydrating the night prior, and then when you first wake up in the morning, get hydrated. Have a charged cell phone with you. Wear the proper clothing and shoes. That seems to be a big one that we've noticed year after year is people are in flip-flop shorts and t-shirt. The flip-flops are no good for you out here. And then the shorts and t-shirts, by the time the sun goes down, you're starting to get cold. Know the weather and tell someone where you're going and when you'll be back. Okay.
And take some gear with you, yeah.
And take some gear with you. And that's why Al's here today. Al's got his personal backpack with him, and this is the stuff you take with you when you go out.
Yes.
All right, so where do we start?
Well, I'd say, first of all, I think it's a good idea to have an idea how you want your pack organized.
Okay.
And I organize mine, what I need to protect myself, and that's all body thermal regulation protection, really.
Okay.
How to keep me alive in hot weather or cold weather. Then be able to communicate with the outside world, and then be able to help yourself if you're injured.
Okay.
Be able to navigate. And then sustenance and other things, a little bit of food, maybe, and other protections. And if you want, we can go across very quickly.
Oh, you don't have to go quick. Go ahead and tell me.
Protection. You need something for shelter. It can be very lightweight. This is a 5x8 silk tarp. I put these zip ties in it, makes it fast to set up, probably set up in 20 minutes.
Okay.
And it will protect you from the heat in the summer or the cold in the winter because you put a fire in front of it. I always carry a little space blanket with me. I have wrapped myself up in this in cold weather. It works really well, and it's reusable.
Can I ask you something? These space blankets, how do they work exactly?
Well, they really help you retain body heat, help you trap heat.
Okay.
You know, they're very lightweight, but they are reusable.
Okay.
And in a real pinch, you can set them up as a shelter.
Okay.
You can tie them to, parachute cord between two trees and make a shelter out of it.
Okay.
I have done that with
Okay.
it.
All right. Okay. And then you got what do you got in the garbage bags?
Here I have.
You've talked about those many times over and over again during the show.
These are just trash bags.
Trash bags, yeah. They can be used a lot of different ways.
Yeah, if you get caught out there on a hike and a thunderstorm hits, you just put one over your head and cut a hole in it. What I find them useful is if I have to stay out overnight, in a cold night, I fill these up with either debris leaves or green pine needles and get myself off the ground.
Okay.
So I don't lose heat through conduction. But they also are great in the summertime because you can use them as a poncho, an emergency poncho.
Yeah.
And then you get back, throw it away, and put a new one in. I always carry two. Then, of course, you need cordage if you're going to set up any kind of a shelter.
I was going to ask you about the cordage because I was looking at it over the weekend. I was thinking, okay, Al's always recommending have some cordage with you. How much? Because I could just see myself out there with the cordage and be cutting it up and using it and then going, oh, geez, I need another 20 yards or something. How much do you actually have with you?
I carry 50 feet.
50 feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've found that has been quite sufficient, 50 feet.
Okay.
You got to have something to cut with. So I bring a knife. This is just a piece of steel. It's got a blade on it. I got tape on it so I don't cut things in my pack. But it's all one piece of metal. So if I have to split wood at night, I can put it on and baton it and split wood for fire and stuff like that. You don't want to have a folding knife. A folding knife's fine for a lot of things, but it's not a survival knife.
Why?
because it'll break at where it opens.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't baton, split wood and stuff with it. It's like having a tiny bolo knife where you can put this on wood and get another piece of wood and just start busting wood and splitting wood like this.
Okay.
Works really well for that.
Okay.
Fire, I recommend carrying...
and this is important too. We should really
yeah.
pay attention to the fire part.
Anything in your pack that you cannot afford to lose, you should carry 2 of.
Okay.
Okay.
What's that saying? You were telling me a saying prior to the show.
It's an old survival saying, if you have 1, you have none. If you have 2, you have 1.
Okay.
And you want your lighters to be able to see the fluid. Here's one, you can't see the fluid, so when it's gone, it's gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can do this to a certain point. And,
right.
And of course, now these new electronic lighters, USB port on the back, you don't know when it runs out of power.
Okay.
And this is a new thing coming on the market. So,
and this is, and you say that this one is useless to you. Do you happen to know how long this charge actually lasts in this?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay.
You won't know until it runs out.
Okay, and then by then it could be too late.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly,
gotcha. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So 2 lighters, really important.
Okay.
Then you want to maintain contact with the outside world.
Can we back up for just 1 second? Can we go back to the lighter and building the fire? I've been meaning to ask you this one. In monsoon season, it pours, and you know that. It just pours and everything gets soaked really fast. What kind of process do you do to find the dry material? Let's say, because we had a very wet winter. Spring, we just had a bunch of rain come through now, and last year during June we had a bunch of rain as well. I guess what I'm getting at is sometimes the ground gets really saturated here, and it's the runoff is tremendous. How do you go about finding the really dry fuel that you can actually burn?
Well, that all depends on your elevation, your ecosystem. In this area, pinyon juniper area, pinyon has a sap that comes out, and it's always kind of really soft.
Okay.
It'll burn wet. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Keep that in mind. It'll burn wet. You can take a lighter and light it, and it'll light wet.
Okay.
Take juniper bark off and go to the inside of the bark and take the bark that's right against the tree. That'll be much less damp, and it will burn.
Okay.
Might have to dry out a little bit, but with a lighter, it'll burn. Okay. Up a little bit higher, you have cliff rose. We have cliff rose here too, but cliff rose goes all the way up to 8,000 feet. You take cliff rose off and go to the inner bark of cliff rose, it will burn wet. So you'll find something at various elevations.
Okay.
All pitch will burn wet, but I like pinyon because you can literally take it off with your finger, and it's kind of sticky. Pitch off of ponderosa trees is harder than woodpecker lips. It'll burn, but it's hard to collect.
Okay.
But it will burn wet.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And
Harder
then
than
rubber burns wet. So if you
Okay.
got any rubber on you, duct tape, anything, these Safeway type bags.
I hadn't even
burn
thought
wet.
about that. I hadn't
Duct
thought
tape
about
burns
that.
wet. Oh yeah.
Okay.
So get those kind of things, and in fact, this is kind of a catch-all thing here. Little extra stuff. I like to carry a saw, but in here I carry a little bit of extra cordage. But in here I have a little bit of steel wool, and I have a cotton ball in there with some Vaseline. All those kind of things, easy to carry with you, and will all burn wet.
Okay.
Burning wet's a serious issue with me, because I've been caught out in storm and not been able to light a fire, and I don't do that anymore.
Right.
That's important. You might have to get the fire in, and maybe put a shelter above you in the summer times, like a rain fly,
Okay.
and then you're underneath it. Then they could have a fire, but yeah, it's awful to be out there and be soaking wet and not be able to have a fire, especially if you're caught out overnight. Even in the summertime, just being wet all night long, it's not a nice experience.
Okay, all right, we're going to take our first break. Yavapai County Search and Rescue volunteer Al Cornell in studio today. Good phone number for him is 204-2976. Countywide, we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
this was me. And Mom and Dad. And my big brother Alex. And Jack. And this was the day that I learned that sandals get their name from sand. That jellyfish aren't made of jelly. That stars don't just come from the sky. That the ocean is bigger than all of us. This is the day we all got to forget that I was sick. And it changed everything. This was my wish.
I call you and say, I'm with the IRS. You owe back taxes, and if you don't pay today, you're going to jail. You can fix this by sending cash. Did you actually believe me? Too smart to fall for it? Well, last year, Americans paid $100 million to guys like me. 1 in 6 people were scammed. Can you believe it? Well, you shouldn't. I just made that up, too. You are a little gullible.
Welcome back to Countywide. Al Cornell in studio today. He is a volunteer with the Yavapai County Search and Rescue, and we're talking about things you should take with you when you go on a hike. Maybe we should backtrack a little bit. And this is not the stuff you kind of need when you're going around the block. But if you're going to go anywhere out on a trail or out in the wilderness, these are things you should carry with you. Let me ask you this before we jump back into what it is you carry in your pack. About how heavy is the pack you're carrying?
Oh, good question. With all my gear in it, but not counting liquid, 7 pounds.
7 pounds.
That's all.
All right.
Yeah.
And when you got the water in it?
All of this is 7 pounds.
When you get the water in there, what, 10
well,
pounds?
I carry in the summer a gallon. So a gallon's 8 pounds right there.
Okay, but still, that's not much at all.
No.
Keep you
And
alive.
when I go out for a hike and carry a gallon, I put more water in the car because usually that gallon's gone when I get back, and then I got water in the car.
And some people might think, well, I'm only going to go a mile back in, so it's not that big a deal. But I want to remind folks that in Prescott recently, we had a grandmother with her grandson hiking. They got a quarter mile back on trail. She twisted her ankle, and then she had to send her grandson out to go get help. So we don't know. You never know when it's going to happen. I think last show you were in here, you said you never know when you're going to step on that round rock and twist that ankle or break that leg or hurt yourself to the point where you can't get up and get out.
And it can happen just a quarter of a mile in at sunset, and no one's there to help you.
Then you're going to feel better if you have this with you than if you don't have it with you.
Oh yeah.
Right, and that is really the idea behind this, not only to keep you alive, but mentally it's going to help you as well.
Let me push something since
Push it.
Okay.
Push it, Al.
I tell everyone, winter or summer, take a little plastic container like that. It can be a little medicine thing like this.
A little film case.
Film canister, and put a cotton ball in there impregnated with Vaseline.
Okay.
And that will light wet. Now you say, well, wait a minute, what if I don't have everything in my pack that's dry? Everything in my pack is wet. You can go to Walmart and get these. This is called a metal match. Harbor Freight sells them for less than $3. And you take the root of your knife and do this, and that will light that thing even if that's soaking wet.
Oh, wow, okay.
Just pull it apart. It's got these little fine hairs, and you just do that, and it lights.
Okay.
And that will burn for about 10 to 12 minutes while you're putting things around it that are damp, or you're putting duct tape, rubber stuff around it and getting a bigger fire.
Okay.
Absolute lifesaver.
Okay.
Something like that.
And then off camera, Al has aluminum foil too, so if the ground's wet, you can lay the aluminum foil down and then build your fire on top of that, and then you're not building on top of wet ground.
Yes, exactly. Saves you a lot of time. Otherwise, you have to make a wooden platform for your fire.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the next thing. You've got a phone, you've got a signal mirror, and you've got a whistle there.
Yeah. Phone's nice and should be out there and should be charged, and we do a lot of rescues by people that call 911, and we're able, most carriers now, to get a ping on where they are, and that's provided to our dispatch, the sheriff's dispatch. We get it and put it into a grid system we use, UTM it's called, plot it on a map, and we know exactly where they are.
How close
usually.
is it? How close is it?
Usually it's within 50 feet.
Wow.
Or
okay.
less.
That's good. That's good.
But we've had a few that weren't close. But we sent out enough teams. That's the first place we go. One thing about GPS, though, is it's straight line.
Okay.
So we plot it on a map, and then where are we? And then that's how we get there, straight line. And then is there anything in our way?
Okay.
And then we may have to navigate a different way to get to them, and that has happened. But that's been a big help.
Okay.
Cell phones, and then GPS.
Okay.
You know, put those coordinates in a GPS and go there.
Okay.
Been
All right.
big help. Next I would talk about would be, in the area of the cell phone, always carry a whistle and a signal mirror.
Okay.
You get out there long enough, you may not have power in this thing.
Correct.
And when we're searching for somebody, usually during the very first segment of the search, or the first 8 hours, we'll get some helicopter support, especially if we're not sure where they are. And by the second 8 hours, there's helicopter there, DPS, helping us. And if you've got a mirror or that you can flash at the helicopter, they'll see it. At night, if you have a fire, a small fire, actually a survival fire is 3 fires in a triangle. That tells people in the area you need help. But
wait a minute, what?
Yeah, 3 small fires in a diamond shape means I need help. But
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, but in this area, just the fact that you've got a fire, the helicopter will come down, get real close, and see who you are. And then generally the person will run out and start jumping up and down.
Sure, yeah.
And when you're waving at a helicopter, 2 hands.
2 hands. Okay.
None of this. This means I'm okay.
Yeah, hi.
This means help.
Okay.
This means help.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 3 small fires, which is not a necessity, but I didn't know that. The 3's in a triangle, and then the 2 hands above the head means help. Ah, I did not know that.
We had one rescue helicopter founder in Boynton Canyon, and I was leading a team into that canyon. And she had 2 lighters in her hands, holding them up like this, lit. And the helicopter saw her and called and said, I got a person down there with a light in each hand, a small flame in each hand, and he could see it that well. And she was a mile beyond us, and we got to her and walked her out.
Whistle, that's important, because if you've been yelling for help, you might be losing your voice.
Yeah, and you can hear a whistle a long way. Yeah, some are better than others, but we did have a rescue of 2 girls. We got to the top of Doe Mountain, and we were blowing our whistles, and then we didn't know where they were up there. We just knew they were up there, and they blew a whistle. They had a whistle with them. I was stunned. First time in 20 years I ever ran anybody with a whistle. But they blew a whistle, and we said, all right, there they are, and they were 1/4 mile over there. Yeah, wonderful.
First aid.
First aid can be very light. I use a soap dish, but scissors and tweezers, Band-Aids, what's this called? Alcohol.
Alcohol wipes.
Wipes. I have triple antibiotic in here. Some more of this kind of stuff for your abrasions and all.
Iodine?
Yeah, iodine. Some. Bring your personal meds. I have some meds in here that I like to carry.
That is a really good point to make right there. Yeah.
In fact, I'm glad I mentioned that, because also in here gloves.
That is a really good point.
But we rescued a man on top of Horse Mesa, didn't have his meds, and he was a type 1 diabetic. He'd been out there all night, most of the night. He could barely walk. Yeah. So you need to bring your meds with you, because you might get caught out. If you're caught out, nice to have your meds. Yeah.
Well, that's
and
a
all
really
of that
good point.
can fit in a soap dish.
Let's take another break. We're going to come back for navigation and food, basically. So stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes. Al Cornell is with us from Yavapai County Search and Rescue. Stick around.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna. Mateo.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weekend.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
I didn't know where my life was going. With Wounded Warrior Project's help, I was able to get my life back in order. I thank Wounded Warrior Project not only for helping me, but also helping veterans that I know that are dealing with the same struggles that I am. Wounded Warrior Project understood what I was going through. I'm grateful that Wounded Warrior Project helped me reestablish my life. I am living proof.
Hello, I'm Jen Cohen, host of Verde Valley TV's hit TV show, The Verde Valley Experience. On each episode, we feature local organizations, nonprofits, persons of interest, events, activities, and great local musicians. It's informative, it's entertaining, it's fun. It's the Verde Valley Experience.
We meet online, and I tell you, I'm falling in love. I have to see you in person, but I need a loan for the ticket. I really think you're the one. And I really think you're desperate. Sure enough, you sent cash and never see me again. Too smart to fall for this? Last year alone, 12 million Americans lost money this way. Can you believe it? You shouldn't. I made that up, too. Might not be as smart as you thought you were.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left of the program with Al Cornell. We're talking about the things you should take with you when you head out, either spring, summer, winter, fall. Doesn't matter. These are the items you should have with you, just so if you get out there, you don't have to panic and wait for help to arrive. And we should probably mention people should just stay put, too. Once you're lost, realize you're lost, stay put. Navigation is next.
Yeah. Real quick before navigation, bring a flashlight.
Flashlight. Good idea.
Winter, summer, just day hike, always have a flashlight. Cannot tell you how embarrassing it is to get back toward your car and it's dark and not have a flashlight.
Okay.
Or get trapped and you need a flashlight to go out and collect wood. Navigation, you shouldn't be out there without you should not be out there without a map.
Okay.
You get these wonderful maps wherever, like these core Sedona Trail maps, covers the whole Sedona hiking area. Get a map and a compass, and nice to learn how to use it. And then it's nice to have a GPS to tell you where you are.
Okay.
If you don't know how to use your GPS, at least you can tell. Well, you need to know how to use it. I guess you could tell someone on a cell phone where you were, but your cell phone will ping your location anyway.
Okay.
But you need a map and a compass.
Okay.
And a compass to me is important, so I always carry a spare. It's one of those things like the lighter. If you have one, you have none. Nice to have a spare compass.
Okay.
I always carry extra batteries for the flashlight and for my GPS. And then a really important thing if you're trapped out at night are gloves. If you have to make a fire, you don't want to be out there picking up firewood in the dark.
Right.
Without gloves.
That makes
even
a lot of
with
sense.
a flashlight.
Yeah, that makes
gloves.
a lot of sense.
I used to not carry gloves and then spend a night out there without them and realize, no, gloves are important. Okay. Now I hike with them all the time.
Okay.
I fell once on a hike in basalt country and fell forward and skinned up the bottom of my hands. From that point on, I always hike with gloves. You know, we're on my stick.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. This is just a triangular bandage. You get it at any medical store. It's been used. Very good for any type of injury.
Okay.
Isolating a broken clavicle, a broken arm. You can actually isolate a sprained or broken ankle with it.
Okay.
If you have to walk out. You don't really want to, but if you have to. There's a method of tying this on your ankle that I learned from some Canadian medics that really works well.
Okay.
And then in summertime, I throw a lightweight shirt in my pack that's damp.
Okay.
And then halfway through the hike, really hot, if I need it, I'll take it out and put it on. And it's just like throwing me in a freezer.
Mm-hmm.
It just cools me down immediately.
Okay.
And gets me back to normal, and then I continue the hike. Yeah.
Okay, we got about a minute left, Al. We wanted to make sure we mentioned, and Ryan reminded us this, is that you can have all this stuff with you. You can have it in your pack, but it's probably a good idea to practice.
You need to practice with all the stuff. The metal match, starting fires, things like that. Technology, I find a lot of young people, they go to the store, they buy all the stuff, put it in their packs, and they don't even open the packages. Or if they do open the packages, it's just to make more room in their pack. They don't practice with it.
Mm-hmm.
And technology is a double-edged sword. They're going to fail if they don't
When you get
practice.
out there and you know how to use these things, it's going to be a lot more helpful than you sitting there trying to read a box on how something's supposed to work, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if it's now, it's all of a sudden it's dark.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, there is that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no,
Right.
it's life-saving.
All right.
And just the comfort of knowing you have all this stuff out there. So if something goes bad, your anxiety level might go up, but you've got options now. You're going to stay alive.
Okay, all right.
And no one out there has died of discomfort.
Yeah, I guess not, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's all we got time for, Al. Thank you so much for coming in.
Okay.
I appreciate it very much, as always. Yavapai County Search and Rescue Volunteer Al Cornell. Good phone number for is 204-2976. That's today's Countywide. We'll talk and to you next time.